Betsey Dexter Dyer, professor of biology at Wheaton College in Massachusetts. I study microbial ecology and evolution.
A high percentage of the organisms in this yard are bacteria, and Betsey Dyer is an expert on bacteria. So what have you found here? Anything interesting?
Well, yes, the whole foundation of this backyard is bacteria. If you did not have the bacteria in the soil, which I just want to show you right here.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't have the bacteria in the soil, you wouldn't have any of the plants here, you wouldn't therefore have any of the animals here. So this is the basics of the biodiversity of this yard. Take a little bit of nice fresh garden soil and crumble it a little bit and smell, and it's the smell that say, oh yeah, that's the smell of soil, that's the smell.
Gardening time.
Yeah, it's gardening time. Okay, that's the smell of the actinomycetes. They are one of the first microbes to get a hold of almost anything that comes down, like a dead leaf, and gets to work and releases those nutrients back into the soil, along with a host of other microbes. So it's important to know that it's not just them. And that's why we dragged over this piece of landscaping lumber.
Wow.
This is loaded. Oh, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. It's loaded with actinomycetes, but it's also, see all this white fuzzy stuff? So if you can see these white threads with your naked eye, you're seeing the fungi that go hand in hand with the actinomycetes in helping to make the soil rich. They're on their way to making this into soil. I mean, the underside of this is on its way to being soil. Now, finally, you've got moss everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much shade.
Yeah, there's so much shade, but also the kind of mosses you have, and you have lots of different ones, are doing well, again, because of nitrogen fixers, and in this case, it's probably nitrogen-fixing cyanobacteria that sort of make an underlying base for these.
Blue-green algae?
Yep, blue-greens. And actually, if you completely strip this yard of vegetation and started from scratch, the first organisms to start to colonize or recolonize, among those would be the cyanobacteria, and they'd lay down kind of a foundation, again, making this fixed nitrogen, which is a fertilizer.
And they were actually one of the first colonizers on this whole planet, right?
Yeah, first colonizers of the terrestrial part of the planet, too, I would say. And one of the really interesting things about them is we've got a field mark of them in this yard, in the sense that we're enjoying 20% oxygen. We need it. We would not be doing well if we didn't have it. It's thanks to the cyanobacteria that began to produce oxygen as a waste product about 3.5 billion years ago. At that point, there was very, very little oxygen, maybe no oxygen in the atmosphere, and gradually the amounts of oxygen increased to the point where it can support huge organisms like us.
Wow, so we owe our very lives to these guys.
We do, yes.
Wow, well, thank you.
We do indeed.
Oxygen makes things burn, rust, and corrode. So when blue-green algae started excreting oxygen, it was a catastrophe for most life. Earth's original organisms survive today by hiding from oxygen in nice, safe, smoldering deep sea vents, boiling hot sulfur springs, and other environments more similar to the young Earth. But new varieties of life evolved that could not only withstand, but actually harness the power of oxygen. That line of life led to most of the species we see today, in the oceans, on land, and in the oxygen-rich air.